Hi everyone, my name is Tessa. I am a guest engagement coordinator here at Audubon Aquarium of the Americas, and I have Clingy with me today. She is a green iguana. Their scientific name is iguana, which I think is pretty cool. And she's been with us for quite some time. She's at least over 10 years old. And she's a female green iguana, so she's a little bit smaller than your typical iguana. Some of her cool adaptations include they have really wonderful eyesight. They're really good at looking around. And then they also have something that we call kind of like a third eye. It's not a true eye, obviously, but it's on top of their head. Her main predator they're gonna be hawks, birds of prey. So the third eye is on top of their head and can kind of detect shadows. So that's another cool adaptation of hers. So even though their name is the green iguana, their colors can range from brown to green. When they're a little bit colder at the beginning of the day, they typically are more brown. And females will typically stay around the green coloring, whereas males during mating season can turn into a really bright orange to kind of attract mates. So yeah. Do you have any questions?
So are there any other types of species of iguana?
Yeah, so there are quite a few. These green iguanas are the most common, and the common iguana isn't necessarily endangered at all. They're least concern. Their populations haven't been thoroughly looked at, but there are a bunch of different iguanas that are endemic to just islands and stuff like that, so those are endangered.
What islands can they be found on?
So Clingy here can be found in the Caribbean, Central America, southern parts of Brazil, northern parts of Mexico, and there are actually some parts of the U.S. where you can find iguanas.
So Alex J. wants to know, how do iguanas eat?
That's a great question. So they have really small razor-sharp teeth. They are herbivores though, so they only really eat plants, but those teeth are used to rip apart leaves, flowers, fruit, and they actually will swallow their food whole. They don't really chew a whole lot. They just kind of go in for it and nom it down.
How often do they eat?
So Clingy actually gets a salad every single day. She likes to stretch her leg out. So she gets a salad every single day. She got a mix of collard greens, turnip greens, butternut squash, beets, and blueberries today. So they eat typically every single day. They'll eat and then they'll fast. Since they are reptiles, they need energy from the sun in order to help them digest.
So Megan H. wants to know, how did you guys come up with the name Clingy?
That's a great question. So Clingy here, you can see she has these long toes and claws, so she kind of clings on to everything. So that's how she got her name.
And then how old do iguanas live to be?
So in the wild, they can live up to about 10 years, but in captivity and human care, they can live up to 20 years.
And then Connie B. wants to know, how do they change colors?
So they have specialized cells that can change color. So much different than humans, but kind of similar, I guess, to like an octopus has chromatophores, and those cells can help expand and shrink, kind of changing their color. And they'll change color based on mood, temperature, even social status.
Does Clingy have a favorite enrichment or treat?
So she really loves strawberries. That's one of her favorite foods. She also likes to have a nice swim every so often. Green iguanas are really excellent swimmers. And she also really likes to get scratches.
So how big do iguanas get?
So this species of iguana can get up to be about 6 feet. Females typically tend to be a little bit smaller.
And then Sarah M. wants to know, how long have we had Clingy at the aquarium?
I'm not 100% sure. Longer than I've been here for sure. She's been here for around 10 years.
And then where did Clingy come from?
So Clingy was given to us by someone that was unable to take care of her. So iguanas and other reptile and amphibian species are really common in the pet trade, but people sometimes don't do their research and really understand exactly what they're getting into. like I said earlier, these guys can live up to be about 20 in captivity. And on top of that, they have to get special food, special lighting, all sorts of stuff. So we got her by someone that was unable to take care of her, and that's how she came to be here.
What does she feel like?
That's a great question. I try to think about that when I'm trying to explain it to guests. Kind of like warm Velcro or like a spiky fluff ball.
And then how much does Clingy weigh?
She weighs about 5 pounds right now. Females tend to be a little bit lighter than males. They can get up to be about 10 or 11 pounds.
Is that the biggest an iguana can get?
As far as green iguanas, that's what I know.
And then where can guests find Clingy, like at the aquarium?
So Clingy actually lives in the education classroom, but we take her out often for animal encounters. So if you're in the Amazon exhibit, iguanas are typically found in rainforesty areas. They love the treetops. So we will take her out for animal encounters in the Amazon exhibit. She also goes on quite a bit of outreach programs to schools, libraries, and places like that.
And then a lot of people are asking how fast can they run?
That's a great question. I think they can run about I don't actually 100% know, but they can get pretty speedy on ground. They don't like being on ground, so they'll usually just kind of scurry up a tree if they can.
So they're really good climbers?
They're great climbers. So they have these really nice long toes and claws for climbing, and they can actually withstand falls up to 40 feet. They're adapted for climbing.
And then a lot of people are asking, would you recommend an iguana as a pet?
Green iguanas are typical for exotic pets, but I will stress, again, they take a lot of care. Definitely do your research and make sure that you can take a pet like this on. Half of my day is dedicated to taking care of this one animal, so I don't necessarily want to tell everyone to get a green iguana. Some people can successfully take care of them, but you really have got to do your research and make sure that you not only have all the supplies, like enclosure, food, and all of that, but also make sure that you have a vet that they can see on a regular basis. You just have to make sure that you're prepared to take on such a different animal.
And then how do iguanas change colors?
It's kind of hard to explain. It kind of goes back to their pigmentation and how they're able to expand and shrink those pigments. They do so based on their temperature, overall mood. When they're colder, they tend to be darker, so they can absorb more light. And as they absorb more light and have the energy to be greener, then they'll become lighter.
And then April B wants to know, how long is their tongue?
I don't know. That's a great question.
You've never seen her tongue?
Well, her tongue kind of sticks out a little bit. You can see here. She didn't develop in all the right ways because she didn't have the greatest care at the beginning of her life. But yeah, I only see her tongue sometimes when she eats, but I don't know how long it is.
And then like when iguanas are born, do they stay with the parents, or do they usually live alone?
Usually a female will just kind of bury her eggs and be on her way. There have been studies showing that baby iguanas will kind of stick around with each other just because of like the strength in numbers type deal. But yeah, usually mom just kind of lays eggs, makes sure no one's gonna dig them up, and then kind of goes on her way.
And then I know you said that Clingy is part of the education team, so people are wondering, how does she travel from place to place in the outreach programs?
Well, the setup here is actually right next to me. So we have a special cooler for Clingy. We heat it up to certain degrees. We get it to about 80 degrees for her, and make sure she's all comfortable in her little cooler. And then we have an aqua van program that she goes out on. We have a special van for that, and that's how she gets transported. And
then are iguanas good swimmers?
They're excellent swimmers. So they typically just kind of will have their legs hanging on their sides, and then they'll use their really strong tails to steer them.
And then what's their average body temperature?
I don't know. That's a great question. They do like to be warmer. We keep Clingy's enclosure in the 90s. They also like a lot of humidity as well. But hotter than ours, I would imagine.
And then are iguanas social animals?
They do like to kind of hang out by themselves. Usually they prefer to kind of like hang out in the treetops, and if there's a great basking area, there might be a couple of iguanas. They aren't typically described as social, but they'll be around each other if they are all in a nice sunny spot.
And then Ashley D wants to know, how can you tell if an iguana is a male or female?
Usually by size. So like I said, females can be about 50% smaller than males. Males also have, so Clingy here has like a dewlap under her chin. That's like the flap of skin that you're seeing. With males, those are a lot more pronounced. Additionally, males will have larger spikes like Clingy has. And then I said earlier, males will also turn a bright orange during mating season.
And then how long is Clingy's tail?
I don't know.
Do you know how long they can get?
I don't know. That's a great question.
And then have you ever shown like other exhibits to Clingy, like while we're closed, or have her explore?
Yeah, so there is a portion of the year where we're closed on Mondays, and we'll walk Clingy around for a little bit of enrichment to look around. As you can see, she loves looking around. Iguanas have really great eyesight.
And then I'm sure you touched on this, but a lot of people are wondering, just tuning in, how old is Clingy?
We don't know 100%. So she's around 10 years old, but she came to us, and the person that had her, I don't believe, knew exactly how old she is, but she's a senior citizen.
And then how old can they live to be again in human care?
They can get up to be about 20 years.
All right. I think that was really great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them. So next time.